Hello, I'm Gerard and this is Pivot to AI. Today, we're going through SpaceX's completely ludicrous IPO document. This episode was written with Amy Castor. We've been in chat for the past 2 days on this one, and it's amazing. Before Amy and I pivoted to AI, we wrote about crypto fraud, such as initial coin offerings, ICOs. A crypto ICO would start with a white paper. This would be made of impossible lies. Nobody cared because the entire value proposition was number go up. The crypto coin would launch, the price would spike, and the insiders would do a rug pull. They'd dump on the suckers and they'd disappear with their cash. The hopeful investors would be left holding the bags. SpaceX is doing a crypto-style fraud, but on the real stock market. This S1 filing is the white paper. The IPO, lined up for mid-June, is the rug pull. Space Exploration Technologies, SpaceX, is Elon Musk's rocket company. SpaceX has satellite internet that turns a profit. It has defense contracting with a solid line of government funding, a lot of bad rockets that blow up, and a money-burning AI company that has a money-burning social network. None of that matters. The selling point is Elon magic. The 277 pages of the S1 are entirely decorative. Nobody cares. You know they're selling Elon magic. If you're in the market for Elon magic, you've come to the right place. The SpaceX S1 is BS. Everyone knows it's BS. SpaceX knows it's BS. The Elon fanboys definitely know it's BS, but they're buying it anyway. Why is SpaceX doing its IPO now? There's a few reasons. The market is hot. Musk wants to do an AI IPO before OpenAI and Anthropic. Venture capital funding for money burners is drying up. The big problem for you is that SpaceX is pulling a stock index scam. That is how SpaceX will pull the rug on your retirement. SpaceX wants to sell about 5% of the company for $80 billion. That's about 100 times revenue on a mere 5% float. That's incredible numbers. Who's going to buy this stock? You will. Pension funds and 401k that include stock market indexes. Stock indexes have tended not to accept weird, money-burning nonsense companies with a tiny float, obviously. Until now. NASDAQ really wanted to be the exchange that listed the SpaceX IPO and beat the New York Stock Exchange. So, NASDAQ just threw away the previous rules so it could fast-track SpaceX onto the official NASDAQ index. The new rule is that any mega-cap IPO, a stock with a huge market capitalization such as SpaceX, OpenAI, Anthropic, will get added to the NASDAQ 100 after just 15 days of trading. NASDAQ also removed the 10% float requirement, so SpaceX gets on the big list with just 5% of the company actually available on the market. This means index funds of the NASDAQ 100 will have to buy SpaceX stock 15 days after the IPO, when the stock is nice and high. The pension funds typically buy into the index funds. The lockup before company insiders can sell is 180 days. When that 6 months is up, the insiders can dump on the market, which is you, rug pulled. Other indexes want in on the action. FTSE Russell in the UK just changed its rules so SpaceX can join the Russell Top 50, the Russell Top 200, and the Russell 1000. The S&P also wants to fast-track the megacaps. Let's look at the S1. Behold the magic of space. Quote, our mission, to build the systems and technologies necessary to make life multiplanetary, to understand the true nature of the universe, and to extend the light of consciousness to the stars. Unquote. The S1 starts with 14 pages of sci-fi pictures of rockets and space stuff, several of which look like AI renderings. This is a soaring work of science fiction, forward-looking statements, written for and by an overexcited teenage boy called Elon Musk, and a few tawdry, real-world bad financial numbers. SpaceX will, quote, establish the lunar economy, including cargo transport, manufacturing, and energy production on the moon, unquote. SpaceX will mine asteroids. SpaceX will take passengers to Mars. SpaceX will build orbital AI computers. How big can SpaceX get? Quote, we estimate that our quantifiable total addressable market is $28.5 trillion, unquote. For comparison, the total world GDP for 2026 will be about $126 trillion. SpaceX says it can make about a fifth of all the money in the world. If it's your job to read this awful thing, skim past every claim about the future. Just look at the bad numbers. Elon Musk retains complete control of the company. He has a supermajority of the voting shares. Investors can't sue for securities violations. They have to go to arbitration. SpaceX will stay a money burner. Quote, many of the innovative products and services described elsewhere in this prospectus may ultimately be unsuccessful and may require great expense, unquote. But once the listing is up, SpaceX can easily release some of the other 95% of the stock onto the market. Free money. Now then, rockets. The thing SpaceX is named for. As a rocket company, SpaceX has always been a cash incinerator. In 2025, SpaceX posted a net loss of $5 billion. The Starlink satellite business actually made $4.4 billion of operating profit in 2025. So that means the rest of SpaceX lost $9 billion in a single year. As an internet service, Starlink is bad compared to a land connection or even 4G mobile. But we're told it's quite good for a satellite if you're off in the wilds and you need satellite internet. You probably want Starlink. The rockets still get steady government money, which is a golden customer to have. But Musk has lots of stupid rocket ideas that keep blowing up across the Caribbean, and he's going to keep doing those. SpaceX also spent $131 million on 10,000 Cybertrucks. Now, you might think that was some sort of self-dealing. SpaceX is billing itself not as a rocket company, but as an AI company. Musk sold XAI to SpaceX for $250 billion in SpaceX stock in February this year. SpaceX is spending a lot of money on AI. But Grok, the XAI chatbot, doesn't really have many users. The S1 keeps counting Twitter users as Grok users. XAI has so much spare capacity, they're renting it to Anthropic, their competitor, which also helps the numbers look a bit less bad for the IPO. Anthropic is paying $1.25 billion rent per month for the next 3 years, with 90 days notice period. Grok is not a serious product. Even the S1 puts its main use case as fact-checking on Twitter. It's maximally truth-seeking, you see. Why is SpaceX maybe buying the Castor vibe coding tool for XAI? Because SpaceX engineers preferred to vibe code with Cursor, not Grok. Grok is not even up to that job. This was apparently worth $60 billion to SpaceX in SpaceX stock, or maybe $10 billion. We'll see. Last year, Musk sold Twitter to XAI for XAI equity. Now that's SpaceX equity. The S1 does not break out numbers for Twitter as a separate unit, or the X platform. It doesn't break them out from the XAI numbers, which are bad. And we think that means the Twitter numbers are bad too. So, this business is trash on wheels. What can we do about this stock index scam IPO? There's actual businesses here. Starlink and defense spending. If SpaceX was stripped back to those two, it could work. But Musk sees SpaceX as a piggy bank for his dumber ideas, and there's nobody who can tell him no. It would be nice if the SEC regulated to protect investors. But regulations just hamper business, specifically the business of skinning the suckers. If you're in the US and you're worried about your retirement money, we suggest you call and write to your pension fund or your 401k provider and urge them to avoid this poisonous fraud. It's your money after all. A lot of customers have been calling already. You will not be alone. If you're with a fund that has to buy into the Nasdaq index, suggest to your fund that they try to get a variation on the investment requirements to avoid this sort of obvious trash. Big money investors love Elon Musk because he keeps making numbers go up, even on ideas that shouldn't work. We can't deny he's got a track record of success in making numbers go up for a while. But we're also pretty sure that bills come due and gravity works. SpaceX does a public offering, that takes money from your pension, then the awful business numbers come home to roost. You probably want to dodge that if you can. Thanks for tuning in to Pivot to AI. Tomorrow is the big patron read, so if you're a patron, then go to the Patreon and add your name to the list. If you're a YouTube member, email me if you want a listing. If you're on neither of those, then this is the time to click on the Patreon link in the show notes and put in your $5. If you prefer YouTube, click the join button below the video. Don't forget to send this video to everyone you know. Word of mouth is what we live on. Thank you all. I'll see you tomorrow, and bye for now.